One thing that you frequently find in the Quran is the stories of ancient people. The Qurayshite people of Mecca used to say that these are just stories. In the verse 31 of Surah Anfal, the words of these Qurayshites are mentioned, which say, "We have heard, if we willed, we could say something like this. This is not but legends of the former people." Quran actually mentions stories of Bible and other ancient scriptures, but Quran does not exactly copy these stories. Instead, Prophet Muhammad made a lot of mistakes in these stories, and most probably Prophet's knowledge of these ancient stories was based on hearsay rather than reading. We would discuss 5 such mistakes made by Prophet Muhammad in this video, which show that Quran is not word of God, rather it is made by Prophet Muhammad, because he couldn't even get the fictional stories mentioned in the Christian and Jewish Bibles correctly. Stay with me to the end of this video to find out the whole truth. Prophet Muhammad's first mistake in this sense is mentioned in Surah Tawbah, verse number 30, which says, "The Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, and the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah." But the problem is, Jews never said that Ezra was the son of God. And there is no sect of Judaism known till today who ever said that Ezra was the son of Allah. But Muslim apologists would say that maybe such a sect of Judaism existed at the time of the Prophet, to which the Prophet was referring to in the Quran. But this also is very wrong, and it cannot be accepted as a justification for this verse. Secondly, there's another answer given by the apologists, say that there were Jews living in Medina. Why didn't they object to such an outrageous claim in the Quran? The problem is Surah Tawbah was one of the last surahs of the Quran to be revealed. At that time, the Jews of Medina had already been expelled, and whatever was left, they were massacred ruthlessly by Prophet Muhammad and the Muslims. So there were no Jews at the time of Surah Tawbah living in Medina who could correct Prophet Muhammad on this matter. And if we talk about the matter of a Jewish sect who believed that Ezra was the son of God, today we have Ghali and Nasri sects of Shia Islam who consider that Ali ibn Abi Talib is in fact Allah. And if the apologetic rebuttal is accepted that there was such a sect of Judaism which believed Ezra to be the son of God, then on the basis of Ghali and Nasri sects of Shia Islam, we would have to say that every Muslim today believes that Ali is Allah. So this is the kind of outrageous claim that is made in the Quran. The second problem is the name of Mary in the Quran. Mary is translated as Maryam in Arabic. In the Old Testament and in the New Testament, there are 2 women who are translated as Maryam. First is Miriam, the sister of Aaron and Moses, and the second one is Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. But in Quran, Surah Maryam, verse number 28 and 30, Prophet Muhammad confuses Maryam as Mary, the mother of Jesus. And the verse 28 of Surah Maryam says, "O sister of Aaron, your father was not an indecent man, nor was your mother unchaste." These 2 women, Maryam and Mary, almost 1,200 years apart. And today, when we see this mistake in the Quran, a lot of questions are asked to the Muslims. Muslim apologists will invent a lot of answers for these questions, but the most important answer to this question is given by the Prophet himself, and that is mentioned in Sahih Muslim Hadith number 2135 and Musnad Ahmad Hadith number 8672. According to these 2 hadiths, the Prophet said that ancient people used to name their children after the previous righteous people. We have no mention of such a brother of Mary, because Christians believe that Mary was an only child and she had no other siblings. So there is no question of a brother named Aaron. Apologists will give you a lot of answers to this problem, but we cannot prefer an answer from a Muslim apologist today because the Prophet himself has given the best answer to this problem, because he was also troubled by the Christians on this matter and he had to explain that Mary had a brother who was also named Aaron. The third mistake is also found in the same surah in verse number 30, where Mary asks her newborn son to give a testimony for her chastity. In the verse 30, it is mentioned, he said, "Surely I am the bondman of Allah. He has brought me the book and made me a prophet." But the problem is, Jesus never claimed a book, and there was no book being revealed to him, and no one was writing down that book in his lifetime. All the Gospels that we have in the New Testament today, all four of them, were written at least 40 years after his death. People wrote the Gospels as his biographies, which were attributed to his disciples. According to Christian historians, there were many other Gospels that were written, but only four were canonized by the church later in the 4th century. According to the Christian claim, there was no book given to Jesus. Gospels are just his biographies that are now incorporated into the New Testament. And there was no one gospel as the Quran mentions. We are going to discuss the problem of one gospel that is mentioned in the Quran in another video. So do subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon and enable all notifications that you don't miss that upcoming video. The fourth mistake that Prophet Muhammad made in the Quran is about Dhul-Qarnayn. The story of Dhul-Qarnayn is mentioned in Surah Kahf in detail. Basically, the question about Dhul-Qarnayn was asked by pagans of Makkah, and the Prophet had to answer this question. They asked him who was the one who reached the rising and setting places of the sun. In the Quran, it is mentioned that Dhul-Qarnayn saw the sun setting into a pond of muddy water, and he was the one who locked Gog and Magog behind a wall. Some Muslims think that Dhul-Qarnayn is Solomon the Great. Some others think that he was Alexander the Great because he was known as two-horned one, which the word Dhul-Qarnayn in Arabic actually means. We find coins that depict Alexander as having two horns on his head. Early Islamic commentaries mention Alexander the Great as Dhul-Qarnayn. Abul Kalam Azad and other modern Islamic scholars say that it was not Dhul-Qarnayn, but rather Cyrus the Great, who was Dhul-Qarnayn and traveled to the ends of the world and locked Gog and Magog. But even Muslim scholars today agree that there is no historical personality that matches the exact things mentioned in the Quran about Dhul-Qarnayn. But in reality, the story of Dhul-Qarnayn has been copied from the Syriac version of the Romance of Alexander the Great, which is written by some pseudo-Callisthenes, which was current at the time when the Quran was being written by the Muslims. If you give me 400 likes on this video, I'll make a detailed video on Quran's plagiarism from the Romance of Alexander the Great. The fifth mistake in Quran is about archaeology. Definitely we know Prophet Muhammad knew nothing about archaeology or history. Egypt was under British rule since 1882, and Palestine also came into British control in 1920. And a new branch of archaeology, which is known as biblical archaeology, was started. The British Crown and the church were both extremely interested in this branch of archaeology. Church also spent its money to further the branch of biblical archaeology. Christopher Hitchens, in his book God is Not Great, mentions no one was more dedicated or professional than the Israeli archaeologists. No group of archaeologists or historians would have worked as hard. They digged everywhere in the Sinai desert and Canaan. But the results were surprising. Nothing about Moses or the other biblical personalities was ever found. There was no evidence found for Jews living in Egypt, or they're wandering in the desert after they escaped from Egypt. Most of the biblical characters are still waiting archaeological confirmation to this day after almost 150 years of biblical archaeology. Only a small archaeological evidence for the house of David was found, which is not ideal either. Christians and Jews were extremely confused. The field of biblical archaeology proved that most of the biblical characters are probably fictional. Prophet Muhammad never knew that, which proves that Quran is also written by a man, and that man was Prophet Muhammad. Whatever is written in the Quran is according to the knowledge of Prophet Muhammad. Because if there was a God, he would have known much better and he would have written the true things in Quran rather than these old Jewish and Christian stories which had no historical or archaeological backing. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to click the like button. Also subscribe to this channel. Press the bell icon. Enable all notification that you get notified for the upcoming videos on this channel. You can also support me on Patreon. The link to Patreon is in the description of this video and also in the end screen. I'll see you in the next video.